Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be testing out the Hard Candy Rose Gold Lookbook Pro palette. This palette retails for $10. You can get this at Walmart. Certain Walmarts carry hard candy, so whatever Walmart carries hard candy, you will find that here unless it's sold out. So let's go ahead and see if this palette is worth $10 or it's not. So I'm going to go and give you guys my first impressions and everything like that. So if you like these kinds of videos, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like what you see, please be sure to hit that little subscribe button down below. That way you guys can be a part of this family we got going on here. I would love to have you guys part. So let's just jump right into this video. If you like this look, then keep on watching. Alright you guys, so I already primed my eyes with an e.l.f. primer. I just use something very, I use it every so often when I know I'm not going out really or going anywhere fancy. You guys know what I mean. So I'm going to be going into this palette, and I'm not going to be using the brushes that they give me. They come with like these kind of little cheapo brushes. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to go and use, did I just shove, I shoved my nail in it. Great. Alright, so I'm just going to use what I have. I'm not going to be using what they provide. I just find that 9 times out of 10 they're not good. But I like to use this slanted one specifically for my brow pomade. I like that better than going out and buying a expensive kind of brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see where'd it go. Okay, so I'm gonna be taking this crease brush right here and just going into this light cream shade right here. So there's not much, when I'm dipping into it, there's not like any sort of poofiness of like the powder dispersing or anything. Alright you guys, so I already went ahead and primed my eyes with the e.l.f. Shadow Lock Eyeshadow Primer. So I'm going to go ahead and go into this palette, and taking a fluffy brush, I'm going to go into this lightest shade right here, which is a really nice cream kind of color. Now I will say that there are 6 matte shades, and there are 9 shimmer shades, which that's quite a lot of shimmer shades if you ask me. I do love my shimmers, but I still think for the average person who really don't like too many shimmers, I feel like that's too many. I myself don't mind it, but I know some people will have probably an issue. So when I dipped into the palette, there wasn't much stuff dispersing. I'll show you guys. There was nothing. There's no powder. There was nothing to blow off either. So this palette does come with a mirror, so I'm just going to be using that to go ahead and do the try on first impression. So for this one first color, I would assume I would have to build this color up. Like, that's just something I would assume, because I don't really see it on my eye. This would be a really nice shade to set everything, so you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to take my finger and just set it, because that eyeshadow paste that I used for e.l.f. is somewhat sticky. It does have a stick to it if you don't set it. I mean, it does set itself, but it does sometimes get a little sticky. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that. I like using my finger for this kinds of thing. I feel like it works a little bit better than really anything else. So let's go ahead and set. I feel like that is enough. I don't see any sparkles because that, for some reason, the primer has sparkles, so there's no sparkles. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into this shade right here, which is right next to it, which is more of a kind of taupey kind of color, or a flesh tone, like a deeper flesh tone kind of color. So go ahead and pop into that color. Now I will say that with that color, it did come up on my eye more of a khaki kind of color. I wasn't necessarily true to the pan. So I didn't have any time, blending it out. I do think it blended out very, very nicely. And the color, I don't see any sort of patchiness or if it clung to anything in any of the eyes. I do like how they blended out. I just wish that the color was not as warm as it was. You know, I wish it was kind of more taupey. I don't like warm shadows. I do, but I don't. It's just kind of like a hit and miss for me, depending on my mood, really. So I definitely think that blended out very, very nice with the brush that I used. I'm just using a Wet n Wild brush, nothing expensive. I definitely like how it blended it out. I don't think I could go back over it. It did take a little bit to build it up, but you would only have to dip in like 2 to 3 times to really build up to its pigment. I'm sure you can really build it up to be more, but I didn't want to go ahead and go crazy with it, so. I'm going to go ahead and dip into this shade right here. I think I'm going to use a different brush for that one shade, actually. I really do like this shade. It is a nice, almost like a blush tone kind of color. Like those blushes that are pink, but they have more of a gray to it. You guys know what I'm talking about. But they're really, really beautiful for a blush. I think they're stunning, at least. I do love a really natural blush. Like, I could probably put this in with another brush that's a little bit more dense with my dense brush. I'm sure if I went ahead, I can use that as blush. Like, that would be absolutely perfect if I use it as a blush. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that into my crease as well. Alright, you guys, so that shade definitely made everything turn to like a peachy kind of color. It's okay. I mean, I do think it turned a lot more peachy. I wasn't expecting it to turn this color. I was kind of expecting it to be more pink than peachy, but I guess that's what you get when you put them together. It is a pretty color. It's not really the colors that I would normally choose, but I didn't have any trouble blending it out. Honestly, the first dip that I had in the pan, I definitely noticed a difference as soon as I swiped it on my eye into the crease. I did definitely notice the color change different, so it is pigmented, and you probably will not need more than 2 to 3 dips in that color because I definitely think it will get full pigment with it. And it did blend out very beautifully. I didn't have any issues with it. I don't see anything really sticking on my eye. As far as I know, I mean, everything looks beautifully blended. I had no issues blending it out. Nothing was sticking, patching. There was still no, like, poof when you tap in, fallout. I think that's what they call it. Or kickback. There's no kickback when I dipped into this color. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and go into this pink color right here and kind of make sure it's more pink than it is peach. I'm just not a peach person. At least this peach is more of an orangey terracotta. It's a strange kind of color, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop into that. Okay, so that color right there was no kickback out of it when I dipped into the palette. And I definitely think it took a little bit longer to build up the pigment, but it still, even after I built it up a little bit, it still wasn't as vibrant as I expected. Now it turned into more of a mauve-y kind of color, which I'm not mad about. I mean, it still is really pretty. But I don't see where it patched or anything. It seems to be grabbing onto that primer very, very easily. I mean, you would definitely need to go ahead and maybe really build it up or maybe use more of a denser brush to really achieve the pigment you want. Because I definitely think using a crease brush like this, you would definitely need to, I think you'll definitely need to use a different brush. I didn't have too many issues blending it out. I do think it blended out very, very well. In the beginning, it looked like it was almost sitting on top of. It didn't seem like it blended out very well, but after I went and picked up more pigment and really went in there and really blended things out, everything blended out very seamlessly and beautiful. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this red and go ahead and put that in the crease as well and see what we can come up with. I am going to Walmart, so I don't want to be like too in your face. That's why I'm kind of trying to keep everything very like just in the crease. That's very bold, and then something really iridescent and pretty on the lid. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go into this shade right here and just put it really just in the crease still, and just kind of really tap off that excess. Okay, so I do think that red color is a lot more pigmented than the pink, but I don't I don't know how to put this, but I definitely think that the red made everything more pink than the pink. Like, I feel like this look is definitely looking a lot more pink using the red than actually going in with that bright fuchsia kind of pink. I'm kind of surprised about that. Like, I've used hard candy shadows before. I do have it. They are all matte 10 Book Lookbook Pro palette. So I'm very familiar with hard candy shadows, so they're nothing new. But I definitely don't think I had any issues blending it out. I think everything blended out very nicely. I think there's really not... Everything's good with the mattes. The mattes blend out beautifully. They blend out like butter. I'm just kind of let down with this shade and this shade. Sorry. This shade, the pink shade, and this shade. They just didn't wow me very much. This shade I'm kind of surprised that it did more than what I was expecting it to. It looks pure white, but it's not pure white. It's like a nice flesh tone color. It's pretty close to my skin tone, actually. Just a little bit more yellow. I would say like a light camel, so to speak. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go in with... I don't know what to do. I think I might just stay in the family of what I was doing, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab this rose gold right here. It's literally like pink and gold in the same pan. Like, you can see that. It's pink and gold. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with that. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do after that is I'm going to go ahead and take this shade right here and just pop that in the center. I think that would be really, really pretty with the look that we got going on here. I'm not going to do a cut crease. It's just going to be a nice soft cut crease. Like a soft... You guys know what I'm trying to say. That was pitiful. Like, when I went into this shade right here, it was very, very rough. Like, literally, I put my finger in it, and you can see right here that there's, like, it just looks all rough and bleh. Like that. And then, I'm not even kidding you guys, I have fallout galore underneath here. I had a little bit pooled underneath right over here. I just got sparkles everywhere. You're gonna need a good glitter glue, or maybe even like just wipe your face afterwards. I'm gonna see how it wears throughout the day and maybe be able to update you guys. I just felt like it was very rough and crumbly feeling, but I mean, it went on the eye really nicely, as you can tell. But you're definitely gonna need some sort of glitter glue or something with this, or like put concealer on and actually just set it with that, because I feel like that would really help it stick. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually take one of the brushes that they gave us, like this one slanted tip one. I'm going to go ahead and dip into that black and just kind of line my upper lash line with that and just see how dark and pigmented, and see if the shadow actually sticks to the shimmer shade, just seeing if it doesn't crumble off. So we'll see. Hopefully it does the job. Alright, you guys, so the black actually went over really beautifully over the, the sparkles. I didn't notice any, like, it falling down onto my, underneath my eye. I didn't notice that. I'm sure it happened, but I didn't notice that. I'm going to go ahead and see how it wears throughout the day to see if it, if it moves, if it transfers, if there's creasing, or anything like that, or just how the, whatever it's called, sits, the shimmer shades sit on my lid because they were so crumbly. They might crumble off or whatnot. So I definitely think, okay, my final thoughts on this palette, I definitely think that if you're a person who mostly loves mattes, I don't think you would like this palette. Like I said, you only get 6 shades, 6 mattes. That's not many mattes for your money. I mean, for your money you get 10, it's $10 and you get 15 shades for all this, but out of those 15 shades, 6 of them are only matte. And for someone who mostly wants mattes, I don't really think you need all these shimmers for a look. You may have to go into reach into another palette, because for me, this really didn't do it. I had to just use this as a setting to set with, and I feel like this color was, you can not dumb it down, but you can actually just tap in once and use it as light transition color. This one, you could use as a transition color as well, or mix the two like I did, but I just don't see, I mean, I'm sure you can do a lot with this palette, you know, it's very versatile. I just don't see you doing an everyday look. I feel like this palette can be very boring very quick, just because if you're a girl who loves natural eye looks and don't like using this random gold or this random red or using this pink or this red, if you're not the type of person to go ahead and reach those colors all the time, this may not be the palette for you. You may really want the original one, which I'll go and find and grab for you guys. Okay, so this is the original palette. It's everything in here is matte. This would be the palette for you if you like everyday looks, because you have so much to work with. You have so many natural tones. I love these. I think they blend beautifully, and I really think they're worth the $10 that they are. They do come with little brushes, you know, if you're a beginner. But this palette right here, if you were just someone like a little girl and you didn't know what you were doing, I really think this palette will be an issue for you guys. I know, like, it's just from experience, I just know what to do when there's glittery fallout and the things that you can do. So I feel like you may have to be a little more intermediate and actually have some more knowledge on glitter and and how to prevent it from falling and that kind of thing. But I do think the matte shades didn't blend out beautifully. All the shimmers that I used was this one and this one. They were all very crumbly to the touch. Even this one, I was so surprised. I was hoping it would just be this one, but it's not. It's both of them. So it's just really up to you guys if you would buy this palette. If you see this and be like, I have to have it, I love rose gold, go ahead and buy it. If you are, you know, if this is going to be just a palette you would use every so often, go ahead, grab it. You know, I would recommend it. But if you're a beginner, I cannot recommend this to you guys. I just would see a hot mess waiting to happen. Like, I just see little girls using these colors and they're just all over their face, and or it's not sticking, or it's crumbling off, or just something like that, and it just wouldn't be very pretty. And especially since these colors are bold. This is a bold palette. Like, you have to admit, this is pretty bold. Like, especially, like, take these out. You take these 3 out, everything else is bold. Like, you can't really get a natural look. I mean, natural for me is pinks, so I could get away with wearing this almost every day. But for the average Joe who wears browns and earthy tones as their natural shade or their natural makeup, this wouldn't be the palette for you. You're better off with this one. It's more versatile and beginner friendly, so it's just a give or take. Pretty much it's what you want in a palette. If you prefer this, then go ahead and buy this. So, you know, I'm still planning on keeping it. I'm gonna go ahead and work with it throughout the month of May, and hopefully by the end of May, since it's literally the end of April, like, hopefully I can go and give you guys a full opinion on my favorites, my monthly favorites, and everything like that. So, I'm hoping to get that for you guys. And if I have any whatever, I'm going to go ahead and wipe everything off after I get done with this video, and if I notice anything throughout the day, I will leave it down in the comments below, or I will put it in the description box. It just depends on, I'll probably put it in both, honestly, if I remember to. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.